Could apply to women too, but
What has it meant to you as an artist to work on a show that offers you such great creative freedom?
I mean, at the beginning, I think Sheila asked me last year if you thought at the beginning of the year that this is what you were going to do, and that's when we had one stage, and it was very, very crowded last year. I mean, it was so crowded that people would come in, and it seemed like when they were gone for 2 days, the crew, we would rearrange the studio. We would take some things down, put other things up. They would be lost. We had to put little signposts sometimes to that, you know, this way to Melanie and Lindsay's, or this way to the diner. But I think she asked if I would have thought this was possible at the beginning of the year, and I could just look at them, and I don't know. It's so much, but when it happens gradually, you just get used to it, or you just work with it.
What I like about it is that it's been well budgeted, so we can do many more things and to a greater extent develop the finishes. We've got time to do a really good job, and our crew tends to be older, maybe relating to myself, but so they've got lots of skill, so this show lets them actually use it. A lot of times you don't get that opportunity.
the smartest thing I can do is delegate the work, surround myself. So I've got girls that work on set. I have Shannon who runs the set for me, and Karen on the truck floor. Meredith is sewing up a storm all the time. Lisa, who I couldn't live without. I mean, any idea that I have, she's the one that actually makes it possible to do. You know, I see a volcano and she knows how to get the fire lit. You know?
The scenic department are fantastic. Both are capable of running any show. Steve Willits and Dave Fuller, and our resident boy genius head carpenter Eric Summerly. He's a technical whiz. If people come to him for special effects, and he's that kind of a guy. He's like the mad professor of technical stuff and formulas and mathematics.
I think you'd be surprised how much work goes into hiding microphones in the seams of some of the clothes for wide shots and things like that. I remember when I started last year on the show, one of the most difficult things in the opening, in the pilot episode, Emmett was wearing a sheer pink top, like completely sheer. And it was all wide shots, exteriors outside Babylon, going home to his apartment, outside, outside, outside. So you can't do that with a boom. You have to do that with microphones. So I would wire the microphone right up the hem, right along here, through the seam, along here, down through to the collar, and then when you watch it now, if you watch it on the DVD from last year, you'll probably be able to see the tiniest little bump right there.
Here's the thing, everybody's dancing and making a lot of noise, and that shows up on camera, so I'm and everyone take down carpets all over the place. So that's why we can't shoot the floor when we're dancing. So there you have it. Yeah. And then, of course, the chains. They have these great chains that everybody walks through, and it's so cool. That's the entrance to Babylon. But we talk every time we're walking in, so you can never really use them because they clink on your line. So we have to hold them back with wire and stuff. And it's you thought it was so much of a party, didn't you?
Telling all my secrets.
Yeah, and that's when he's not just putting felt on our shoes. Time if he could would felt our tongues so they didn't make noise while we're talking.
Both seasons took on a life of their own. The music is, we've so many people adding their musical taste to the series, including Michael and I and the producers and Sheila and the directors and the editors. Everyone brings in, hey, I found this great track, and then that's how it sort of evolved. And in the first season there was 250 songs, and in the second season it's probably going to be more than that. So it's a lot of music. We get hundreds of CDs every week sent to us from all over the world, from Europe and Britain and the US and Canada, and we listen. We have maybe 4,000 or 5,000 CDs in the office, and garbage bins filled with CDs of terrible stuff. So it gives the show an edge, and that's what we've tried to do with the music, is choose stuff that's alternative, stuff that you wouldn't necessarily hear on the radios in the U.S. or Canada. And it's been amazing. We've used stuff like Badly Drawn Boy, which is a great alternative act from Britain. And you saw a difference in the sales of his records the week after it was played. So definitely people are listening, which is good.
Everyone on the show works so hard, such long hours, and it's an opportunity to say thank you to everyone and let people know a little of what goes on behind the scenes of how hard it is to do any series, the amount of hours, man-hours it takes, the number of people it takes to do, as Dan said, even the simplest scene.
And everyone on a production is so important. Every job is so important that if somebody isn't doing their job, it's sort of there's a ripple effect. So, but luckily
We have
on
an
this production,
extraordinary team
we
of
do,
people.
and everyone is
They're
just
amazingly
incredible.
dedicated. And everybody's job is as important as everybody else's. In that regard, when you're doing a creative effort that's as collaborative as a TV series, everybody's job is equally important. And if one thing goes wrong, it affects everything else. And we're very fortunate to have such fantastic people here.